Okay. There's enough people here. Time to do the fun thing that happened this weekend. So, this weekend I revealed that for the last 6 years, what I've been doing on YouTube has been a complete farce. I've been tricking you all. Secretly, I was a fascist the whole time. You found me out. Shit. Like, sorry. My bad. Really have nothing else to say but that. Secretly in quotes. Yeah. No, okay. So, let's do this real quick. So, if you're unfamiliar what's going on here, about a week ago, King Scarlet made a comment as the Jada thing was winding down. And he said, listen, this is awful, obviously. But let's not, as I've been seeing happen already, take this opportunity to shit on trans people as a monolith. This is a person fucking up, not a representative of a community. You know, God knows that I don't want to be held accountable for the stuff that white guys have done, you know. Immediately after, some Market Watch YouTuber makes a video in which they're like, well, looks like Yugi Twitter, aka King Scarlet, is anti-white. And it was this 8-minute video about how including the word white in that tweet made Scarlet a racist, right? So this was pretty much met universally with hee-hees and ho-hos. Stevie quote tweets this and goes, oh, you all like this Yu-Gi-Oh guy? Well, guess what? He voted for Trump twice, and he ran a crypto scam. So everyone was like, okay, crypto scam, yeah. He voted for Trump twice. And so then Cap replies to this, and he goes, why'd you put voted for Trump on there like it's a crime? Like, you know, it's not really the same stuff, but I feel like Trump supporters should be allowed to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then we all did the thing. Everyone decided it was time to be as performative as possible online. And all over my feed on the 22nd were people going, I will say it. If you voted Trump, get out of my community, which is great. It's just a wonderful, just the most Twitter-brained approach to this imaginable. So I saw like 4 or 5 people that I liked it. That I liked doing that. And I said, okay, I mean, I guess I'll throw my hat in the ring in the opposite direction. And I say a couple of things. Firstly, why are we doing this? None of the people who are making any of these comments have any control over who does or does not enter a community. I mean, we're just going to like bar people at the YCS? Like, why? It's a completely self-serving, performative, like gritty profile picture in 2022 type of thing to do. But secondly, I do want to kind of interrogate what's going on here. So firstly, I want to say, yes, I think we should expel bigots from our community whenever possible. If someone's being homophobic or transphobic or racist or making people feel unwelcome, get them out of there. We don't need them, you know? First and foremost, getting together and having fun should be an issue of safety, right? However, for some reason, I am not convinced that Trump voter is one-to-one with you're a bad person. And I think that this is I've been like kind of mulling this over in my head for the past couple of months, but I think it's emblematic of just sort of a larger thing that's going on in America right now, which is that we are the most atomized. I mean, I know that I have ever been, but the most atomized I think the nation has been in a very long time. And obviously, it has to do a lot with COVID, but it has a lot to do with a media consumption cycle that aims to inform every single person that every other person is out to get you. And I don't know even if this is being done kind of nefariously, right? Like, I don't know if like there's big people in suits somewhere that are like, yes, keep them alienated from their fellow worker. I think it's possible that like that's just how algorithms work, right? As you watch more like content, you get kind of shuttered into people who are all saying the same things. And the more inflammatory you make content, the more clicks it gets and interactions you farm. But whatever the case, it seems like a significant amount of people have decided it's now time to watch Tucker 8 hours a day and give myself like an illness from the 1600s and like die of scurvy. And the other half are like, I'm going to get on Twitter and post for 30 hours about how, I don't know, the Jorts the cat shit, right? It feels like people are occupying two completely disparate worlds that are mutually exclusive with each other. And the end goal is the destruction of the other. And I think that sucks. I think that the world is about to face a significant amount of really specific challenges as kind of the climate crisis escalates. And in order to, in my opinion, make the form the bonds between each other that are going to be a prerequisite to any sort of like national solidarity movement that has any chance of being empathetic in a way that we don't just let 1 billion climate refugees die, we have to be willing to endure people who believe different things than us, have conversations with them, and find commonalities. And I think that Locals is uniquely positioned as one of the last things in America where people are forced to interact with each other. We bulldozed all the malls, you know. We don't have any parks anymore. Everyone sits inside for 8 hours a day on a screen because that's the most effective way to pretend the economy works. So I will say there are Trump voters who voted for Trump because he was going to put the Mexicans in their place. He was going to bring the transgender people to heel, et cetera, et cetera. Those people should not be welcome in the community at all. But I know a lot of people, and people like to pretend that this doesn't happen. I know a lot of people who just aren't that into politics, who voted day of because someone browbeat them into doing it, who voted because their parents did it, who voted because, you know, they saw a meme from a YouTube creator they liked. And I think that those people are far from lost. You know, I personally have had a lot of really positive interactions, especially after moving to a place where people are generally supporting Trump more, that led me to believe that, like, these people do have a type of commonality with me that we can all access.
Was wrong.
It's not necessarily that they want everyone else to die, right? So, I don't know. And so I got a lot of quote tweets that were like, oh, so you want me to find commonalities with people who want me dead?
That was wrong.
No, I don't. I don't do that at all. If anyone wants you dead, don't interact with them, don't talk with them, kick them out of your communities. But just as Tucker for 8 hours a day will convince 65-year-old boomers that every single person wants them dead, that teachers are coming to trans your children, that they're putting zip ties on your car to human traffic, you know, white ladies in the suburbs. There are a significant amount of people on the left who are convinced that they are 30 or 40 seconds away from the wall, that the nascent fascist movement in the United States is about to overwhelm us, that we need to all get extremely, really armed, and definitely the people who are encouraging this aren't feds, you know? And I feel like that has just got to be a terrifying way to live your life. I think Ava had a really good thread on it in which she said, yes, you know, as a trans woman, I have, when doing like DSA outreach, I have had people yell at me, but I've also had a lot of people I didn't think had anything in common with me have really good, positive conversations that led to commonalities. And I think that those bonds uniquely can form at OTSs. Just because you already have one thing in common already. You hate fucking fluonderies. And then finally, I feel like the last thing is that a lot of people who aren't American were chiming in on this. I don't want to be like, you don't really understand, but the way that we vote in America isn't really indicative of how we believe anything. There are not good choices for voting in America, right? Our options in 2020 were Donald Trump, who was a bigoted, racist, geriatric rapist, or Biden, who was a bigoted, geriatric, racist rapist, right? Except he also had a history, like Biden's big contribution to American history was he shouted down an assault victim in order to get a Supreme Court justice onto the court that later would overturn Roe v. Wade, and he invented the way that you just throw black people in jail for no reason. And that crime bill would eventually see like a third of black men in prison over their lifetime. So it was really funny to watch people shout down, one of the most prominent black creators for not supporting that guy. I personally made a calculation and thought that Biden was the lesser of two evils, and I pulled the trigger. I know a lot of leftists who did the same. I know a lot of people who didn't vote for that reason, but I also know a lot of right-leaning people who felt browbeaten into supporting Trump because they really didn't like Biden. In America, we frequently vote against people. And as a result, we don't feel personally responsible for all of the things the person we voted for embodies. And that sucks. I mean, it fucking blows. But it's a part of voting specific to the way in which our electoral system is set up. I don't think it's fair to believe like the electoral system is a fraud. You are propagandized from K through 12 through the United States educational system. And also everyone should be 100% beholden to everything that every politician does that wins in their nation. Like, that's not really fair, right? So, I was like, listen, if you were a Trump voter, I mean, you are not my enemy. If you're a homophobe, if you're a bigot, if you're a transphobe, if you're a racist, you are. And I don't want you in my community. But if you are not those things, let's fucking talk, And I think OTSs are uniquely positioned as a place you can talk. You can find commonalities that aren't like explicitly like political, And I think I really do feel like this very last tweet right here, which is that the country is so clearly atomized, but mending that atomization requires us to develop community. And developing that community is going to require you to find solidarity with other people. It is an extremely radical action to ask you to speak with someone who disagrees with you. But this is kind of the very, very last thing I would say is to the people who spent after I posted this, who spent the next like 10 hours quoting me and saying like, you're secretly anti-trans, you're a fascist collaborator, you would have sided with the Nazis in Weimar Germany. That's like a really fun one for me personally to hear. I guess I would ask them specifically to interrogate why they consider themselves leftists, right? Why do you believe in the leftist project? And not the people involved, like not like, oh, well, Bernie is epic and based and like Trump isn't. And they're like, I liked ContraPoints videos, right? Like, why do you believe in the ideas of it? And like, just take like a policy objective like Medicare for all, right? Why do you believe in Medicare for all? Is it because, you think it polls well? It's a slogan that AOC can like use to epically dominate an interlocutor, right? Or like, do you believe that all people deserve a dignity while they are ill? And if you do believe that, well, that's kind of contradictory, right? If you believe that a group of people in the United States is literally trying to kill you, why would you want them to get healthier? It's going to be a lot easier to kill you if they're not dying and destitute in medical debt, right? So, you have to ask yourself, do you believe that? Or do your politics embolden a universal empathy? And if they do, why are you denying that empathy in such a low-stakes place as an OTS, but extending it for something like Medicare for All that has unique, huge implications for your continued existence? So that's what I would ask, And this isn't like a rhetorical thing. This isn't meant to be a gotcha. I really would say the people who are like, it's time to do the Twitter dunk and call Joseph a fascist collaborator, sit with yourself for like 10, 15 minutes. And I try to do this pretty frequently. Like, ask yourself, why do I believe the things I believe? Like, is it because, like, what are the philosophical underpinnings behind what I believe? And, I think you will come to meaningful conclusions about it. I did like the people who were quote tweeting me and calling me centrist. I did like the people who were like, he's a liberal for this one, chief. It's really cool to be like, yeah, voting Trump and voting Biden are both independently very bad things to do, and everyone be like, the classic liberal saying voting Biden bad. Well, it is what it is. Then Hardleg made the exact same tweet thread as me, came to the exact same conclusions, and then everyone in the thread said, wow, I like your take a lot better than MBT's. Motherfucker, it was the same take! Oh my God! You people are just haters. He's the cooler Joseph. That's true. Your community hates you. Actually correct. And why do they hate me? I don't know. It's anti-Semitism, I've decided.
That was wrong.
Actually a little weirded out by the amount of people saying true here. No. I will say the one thing that I did that was maybe too far was Diamond Dude quote tweeted me and called me a fascist collaborator. I thought they were taking the piss, personally, because I was like, me? Come on now. So I responded, oh, so now the Spanish communist is going to lecture us about fascist collaboration. You know, that I thought that was funny. A reference to Catalonia, in which the communists sold out the anarchists to the fascists. And everyone in the comments was like, wow, very insensitive of you. This individual had his great-grandparents die in the fight against fascism in Spain. I was like, motherfucker, where do you think my great-grandparents were? What do you think? Why do you think I'm in Maryland and not fucking Germany? You dumb shit. How come I'm not allowed to do a bit about it? Come on.